Hey guys, everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another StapleSpeaks. Now, this one is a video I wasn't really planning on making, but after the things that have been conspiring over Instagram and Twitter over the past few days, I have decided to make this video. And I believe that it is criminal for Liverpool fans to be judging Pep Guardiola the way they are, and I'm gonna prove right here Pep Guardiola is way better a manager than Jurgen Klopp. So let's have a small history lesson for each manager just so we can set the tone. Jurgen Klopp was not a very good player and was stuck in the Mainz setup, especially in the second league. And he was given the chance to become the manager when he was the assistant manager and the manager who was managing left. He got them promoted in 2 years to the first year of Germany, which is the first time they ever did that in history. They gained Europe in the next 2 years in the Bundesliga, but then after that the fall happened, they got relegated, and after a season of failing to get them re-promoted, he resigned from the job. Next, Borussia Dortmund came calling, and over here is where most people would say he really starts to get some heads turning. Back-to-back Bundesliga titles, a Champions League final in 2013. But then again, he resigned after some horrific results, and these are some of the really bad results. They somehow got Europe that year, but it included losses at Köln, Hanover, Mainz, Hamburg, Augsburg, and even drawing with Paderborn. And these are quite frankly embarrassing for a club with their stature. And the third club is when Liverpool came calling, and he changed fortunes at the club. The club had not won a league title in 30 years until he did it this year, a Champions League, a Premier League. So you can say that Jurgen Klopp is more the road to glory kind of manager, a manager who came from a small club and is now at, I guess you can say, his managing peak. Now, next we have Pep Guardiola, who was already a bit of a Barcelona legend before he became the manager of the club over Michael Laudrup. And you'll be actually duped into thinking that Barcelona were big at the time, but in reality, they'd not won a league title for quite a long time, and a Champions League looked almost elusive for them. But with Guardiola, he changed fortunes for Barcelona. Won a Champions League, they dominated the La Liga over the next few years. And then after a few years, he decided that maybe he was done with managing. So he resigned and took a break for the season until he decided he was going to get back when Bayern Munich came calling. And this was the year that Bayern started dominating the Bundesliga. They had the longest unbeaten league run in any of the top 5 leagues with 49, which is absolutely incredible. They went an entire season unbeaten. That is more than the run of the Invincibles. But then, after a few years at Bayern, job went stale and he left for the greener pastures of Manchester City. And since then, 2 Premier Leagues, one with 100 points, dominating the league, always finishing in the Champions League spots, first English domestic treble. And now the difference between Guardiola and Klopp at this point is that Guardiola has been managing top teams for the entirety of his career. He really is not doing he's not doing road to glories, but rather more return to glories, or trying to pair with a team that was sort of left deflated after the last manager, if that makes sense. So he is the more premium manager, the man who stays in top jobs. So basically the thing I'm going to try and prove is Pep Guardiola is a much better manager, and I'm going to do that by combating every single argument against Pep Guardiola. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that he didn't win the Champions League with Bayern, which I think is not really valid because these were the years that Real Madrid and Barcelona were the two teams that won the three Champions Leagues, and obviously the last trophy was the one that set up the three-peat of Champions League for Real Madrid. And this was also just after they had won the Champions League. So the real argument was, why do they need a new manager? But Pep Guardiola is a much better manager than Jupp Heynckes, and I think we can all agree on that. Next, 2013 to 14 is the year that it's not considered a good year. However, that is the most successful year for Bayern history. They won 5 trophies that year. And just because one was in the Champions League, people thought it was a failure. They even lost to the eventual winners in the semi-finals in the form of Real Madrid. So I don't really think this was a failure. The next season, the 2014 to 15 season, they were knocked out again in the semi-finals, again to the winners, Barcelona. And obviously, who can forget that glorious Lionel Messi goal? It is beautiful to look at. And then the next season, for Guardiola's last season at Bayern, they lost to Atletico in the semi-finals. And Atletico, if you remember, that year was the year that Sergio Ramos scored in the last minute to get them towards extra time, and then towards the goals that got them Champions League. So again, I'm not considering it a failure. So realistically, not winning the Champions League with Bayern, the cards didn't fall his way. He could have gotten a much easier draw, but in reality, he was drawn against the eventual winners and a team that took the winners to the limits. So I don't think it's a really bad thing. It's 3 consecutive semi-finals of the Champions League. You can't really complain with that. So now the main point against Pep Guardiola is the fact that he spends too much money, and the only thing is that take the money away from him, Pep Guardiola is going to be half the manager he is. Now I'm going to try and disprove this because I have found out, I have been researching like crazy to try and find a counter example for this, but I can't. The man has never made a bad transfer. Sure, he's made questionable transfers, but in the end, in the bigger picture, they've always worked out. I'm gonna go from every season since the start of his management to try and prove that. Let's go to the 10-11 season at Barcelona. Sir Alex Ferguson called this the best team he's ever faced. And at the start of the season, they sold Thierry Henry, they sold Rafa Marquez, they sold the core parts of their team. And he brought in people like Ibrahim Afellay and David Villa, which revolutionized that team and gave it the core that it needed to kick on. Now, the second season at Barcelona was really some smart business. Only 2 signings were made in this time, and one of them was Cesc Fabregas. You really can't go wrong with Cesc Fabregas because really he made the team for the next few years, and you can't argue with that. And the next season, his last season at Barcelona, he made only 2 signings again. Alex Song, Jordi Alba. 2 players who would boss the team for the next 3 years. And really, his Barcelona signings are incredible. Bayern Munich, let's go to that. First season at Bayern, 2 players. One of them, Thiago Alcantara, a man who would go on to captain Bayern Munich. A future club captain signed by Pep Guardiola. His next season at Bayern, no one really knows the money he spent because all transfer fees were undisclosed. But it was disclosed that they did make a profit that year, which is almost unheard of in today's market. And last season at Bayern Munich, no one really knows the revenue they gained. But with the expensive sale of Bastian Schweinsteiger in the upwards of 40 million, you gotta suppose that they must have made quite a bit. Another thing I would like to bring out is the fact that Jurgen Klopp himself spent over 400 million dollars on players for Liverpool itself, and they include people like Marco Grujic, Dominic Solanke, Naby Keita, Christian Benteke, and the way things are going, even Minamino is not looking like he's going to cut it in the Premier League. And I would like to conclude maybe this part by saying that Pep Guardiola, if you give him the money, if you give any manager the money, they're gonna spend it. Alright, he's been at clubs with extensive resources and they've been made available to him. And if you have that money available, why aren't you gonna spend it? And that is the main reason why I think he goes on his spending sprees, I believe. And without that as well, he has crafted some incredible teams over the years. Sir Alex Ferguson called the first season of Pep Guardiola, his first team, the greatest team he's ever played against. And I think that statement in itself proves Pep Guardiola on his day is the way better manager. It's almost unfathomable that people think that just because Klopp won a Champions League and a Premier League, that Pep Guardiola is a money-paying merchant who needs money to try and fuel his teams. When in reality, all he needs is commitment. That's what you see in his teams. He is the greatest tactician of our generation, and I believe that Pep Guardiola is the way better manager than Jurgen Klopp. Anyway, guys, that is it. I think I have proven enough to make it seem that Pep Guardiola is the better manager than Jurgen Klopp. If you liked the video, please like, share, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. I know this was a bit much of a shorter video, but it's because I'm working on a much bigger project. It may be out in the next 2 weeks. It's not, I'll give you a hint that it's another every Premier League club, which obviously means it's going to take a lot of time, but I think you're gonna like that video. But this was just a nice video and just had to vent it out after seeing such disrespect towards such an incredible man. But anyway, guys, until the next episode of Staple Speaks or anything really, peace.